Antony and Cleopatra, the final war of the Roman Republic, designed by John Thiessen and published by Hollandspiele. Hi there, my name's Neil and welcome to Diagonal Move. Thank you for joining me today. And this game, Antony and Cleopatra, is the current print and play game occupying a tremendous amount of time and space on my coffee table. And it's been time well spent, I assure you. This is a wonderful game of operational conflict in the civil war between the western half of the Roman Empire, led by Octavian, who would later become Augustus Caesar, and the eastern half of the Roman Empire under the command of Mark Antony and Cleopatra. The game is an operational level game. It's designed for 2 players, but I'm going to be playing it solo. There's nothing really to prevent you from playing solo by playing both sides as best you can. It's a game that requires careful use of your navies and your land forces as you try to wrest control of the sort of the provinces through defection, try to take each other's capitals, which is Alexandria and Rome, and really just try and cause as many problems for each other as you possibly can, with the ultimate aim of reducing the track in the corner here down to 0. When you hit 0, the person who has reached 0 first would actually lose, and the other side would win. The game is played out over 3 years, and each of those years has a number of turns within them, and within those turns there are a few different phases. I've done a full how to play rules overview video recently, so please go and have a look at that if you're interested in knowing the rules in more detail. So I won't go into the rules particularly now. Suffice to say, we'll be checking for storms, fighting invasions, fighting each other, and then trying to combat issues such as plague and attrition and so on before beginning it all over again the following year. The board as it's set up at the moment is actually the end of the first turn of the 32 BCE year, which is actually the May turn. The reason we are not starting from the beginning is because the first turn is actually shown as the example of play on the end of that other video. So please do feel free to go back and watch how that first turn would play out. But now that we've moved the pieces around and the forces are a bit more spread out on both sides, we should be able to dive straight into some historical goodness. I've just finished the October-November turn of the year 32 BCE, about to go into the first winter turn of the game. Not a huge amount's happened, to be honest. Mostly it's been jockeying for position. There's been movement of the Western Roman Empire's forces under Octavian down the coastline of North Africa. Quite a large stack of units just here. And Mark Antony, having come across the sea at the end of the very first turn of the game, has sort of sat here waiting to see what that side will do. There are a few squadrons coming along the coastline here just in case they need to support, or even, well, they can't support in the combat, but maybe they can get past and prevent any Western Roman squadrons coming down the side there. With the aim of the Western player, of course, would be to try and get to Alexandria, which is the capital of the Eastern Roman Empire. So it's very kind of a bluffing game, really, down the south side of the map here, along the coast of Africa. More in the central part of the map, with Italy and Greece and areas around the southeastern Europe, I suppose we would call it. Much the same, really. The squadrons under Agrippa just here for the Western Empire have kind of just sat in one position, preventing any potential advances by Cleopatra's squadrons, which are just there in Ambracia. However, the Eastern Empire has just landed a large force, or slowly built up a large force here in Macedonia. And the route for them would be to go along the coast there of the Adriatic Sea and around the top into northern Italy, However, that's going to take a bit of time. The land units can only move 3 hexes at a time. So, yeah, going to be interesting going into this first winter turn, which is when the first really serious risk of attrition, if you like, happens. There is an attrition turn in summer, which we did have on the second turn of this game. But both sides were very lucky. Being summer, there was a diagonal modifier that meant the risk was quite low, and both sides got through the attrition of summer quite easily. But it looks like we're going to have the first eventful turn of the game shortly. End of turn 8 in the year 32 BCE, and the end of the year as well. The final turn was somewhat more eventful than the previous few. The jockeying for position, particularly down here, still continued, as it did up sort of here in Macedonia as well. But what really the key thing that happened here was that there was the attrition during the winter months, and that really didn't really affect that many. But where it did happen here with Cleopatra's forces, the fact that he ended up with a plague result led to an opportunistic attack by Agrippa's forces across the little strait here, and the negative modifier or the column shift that the plague counter gives meant that the Western forces were able to inflict a couple of strength point losses on the Eastern Roman player, and as a result of those strength point losses and winning the combat at more than a certain number of strength points, we have a small prestige gap opening there. So we have the first combat of the game, the first attrition damage of the game, if you like. And as we move into next year, we again have winter in the January-February months, more attrition. We do have a few reinforcements coming on. They're on a separate table at the moment, but we have some reinforcements that not coming on straight away, but will be available during the next year for buying, essentially, rather than automatic reinforcements. Yeah, that's the position at the end of 32 BCE. It's been quite quiet, but we have had our first scuffle just here, and the effects of plague being felt as well. I think that's it for this video. If you enjoy the video, please do click like, subscribe if you haven't already, and otherwise I hope to see you next time for 31 BCE.